All right, we've got a woo boy, Palworld. Oh man, I gotta say, I've never seen a game so controversial in my life. Not like so controversial, but like I've never seen a game that is on everybody's radar, and people have been like lobbying all types of accusations against just because it's popular and it's very similar. Now, for those who don't know what Power World is, and if you've been living under a rock, I assume that, or if you're not into video games, you don't know what Power World is, so let me help you out. Power World is essentially like a survival game where you're outside and you can capture pals to do various stuff for you, like hunt with you, go out and do labor with you, and build your bases, and do all types of different tasks. Now, that is essentially the core of the game. That's the gameplay loop. You can go out, you can get bigger pals, you can build your base even bigger, you can get more helpers, all that fun little stuff. Of course, when it comes to this game, there's been one very glaring, not glaring, but one big inspiration that they have. And I use inspiration a little bit loosely. And a lot of people call this a Pokemon knockoff. And now, while I will say Pokemon is rather popular, Pokemon is not the first game that had monster catching. The first one that I know of, I know there's like Tamagotchi. That I think that's like that's the one that I remember because that's the. And if there's like other ones, there's definitely been some before Tamagotchi. But the point is, the whole monster capturing genre or little pet gathering genre has been around for a very long time. It's been around for a while, and it's not going anywhere. It's just that Pokemon and I guess Digimon to an extent. And what's that? What's the other one? There's another one that's come to my mind. Those are two ones that I remember. But anyways, those two have just been the ones that I know the most and have been the most popular throughout the years. And as you know, Pokemon sells a lot. Even when you have a buggy mess like Violet and Scarlet. Running around doing its thing. And let me tell you, Scarlet and Violet, people were slamming this game non-stop for how buggy and like how uninteresting it is. It still sold very well because the Pokemon IP is just that profitable where people will buy anything. Even people I know who knew the game was going to be bad still bought it because that's how big of a fan they are of Pokemon. And I like Pokemon too, okay? Eevee for the win, boys. Eevee for the win. But anyways, back to Palworld. So Palworld is a bit crazy because this game, people kind of believe that it seemingly came out of nowhere when actually this game was announced back in 2021. And 2021 is a very long time away from here. That was basically 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And now it's came out, and get this game, as of today, has sold over 7 million units. And it actually ended up topping the Steam charts. I believe that PUBG still has the highest what's it called? Not peak player count, but like the highest money earned in a game in like the 24 hours or whatever. But point is, Power World made its way all the way up to that point. And plus that with Game Pass, I'm sure it's even higher than that. And let me tell y'all, all I'm gonna say is, if a game like this comes out, everyone, at least on Twitter, is lobbying stuff at it for Pokemon, or being a Pokemon knockoff, or stealing from Pokemon, or I don't know, all types of other stuff. And we're going to get into those accusations in a little bit. Now, the funniest part about this is that the fact that it sold so well, and to me, maybe that Pokemon fans have been looking for something that is actually, decent. Because the last Pokemon game I actually enjoyed was Pokemon Arceus. And that game was a lot of fun. Like, I actually enjoyed it. But then, when you go to Palworld, you kind of realize that maybe Pokemon Arceus, as good as it was a bit lacking. And the truth is that Pokemon especially Game Freak, has had no competition for the longest time when it comes to this particular genre. And now that we see a game come out and it's popping, it's doing really well, and it uses the same monster capturing ideas, it's not a surprise really. And of course, the fanboys are in shambles. I mean, people have lobbied all types of stuff against this game that I have not seen in a long time. The last game I know that caused this much controversy, and that was this mainstream in the controversy land, was Hogwarts Legacy. And people were mad at Hogwarts Legacy because J.K. Rowling had said some interesting comments. And while I will not comment on those comments, people got mad at the developers who were a separate entity entirely making Harry Potter games. And people were saying, oh, don't buy this game or else you're hurting trans people or whatever. And whatever. And to be honest with you, if buying a game is what stops people from being transphobic or whatever, then I guess ban gaming in general. Even though J.K. Rowling made her money, and that money ain't going nowhere, as far as we know. Yeah, anyways. But Palworld is in a similar, bracket. Not so much about transphobia, but more or less, we have stuff about, like, slavery in video games. Oops, I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube. We'll see. There's AI accusations, and there's been a lot of AI accusations. And, of course, there has been there's people who are drawing comparisons to actually prove that they've been stealing off of Pokemon. Now, of course, we're going to look into all those in a minute, but I actually want to show you guys some other stuff that they've worked on before we get started. So we're going to look at this game called New Nevergrave. Well, I don't know why I said newer. And we're going to look at this game called Craftopia that they have. And, of course, you're going to notice something a little interesting, but why don't we show you some gameplay from their own channel, from the first game, and then we'll show some after that on the second game, and I'll give you my thoughts on both of them after the trailers are done. So, let's hop to it. Now, if you think that the first game was Hollow Knight knockoff, then I actually wouldn't be that far behind you, because it looks very, very, very similar. Or at least, sorry, very inspired. That's the word I want to use, inspired. And, of course, for the other game, it looks like, oh, this is like Breath of the Wild meets, I don't know, Factorio or something. That's not a good example. Oh, Factorio is not a good example. It's like Breath of the Wild meets, I don't know, The Sims or something. Like, you go anything that involves building. That's the whole point. And as you can see, this company has made a few games, but Palworld is the one that really took off. And Palworld took off so well that, of course, their own Twitter account has been the ones, celebrating about it, being happy about it. And people are happy, and of course they're releasing roadmaps. But we're not really about the game. We're not talking about the game. More like around the game. But anyways, now into the accusations of AI. Now there have been some screenshots floating around where people have been accusing Palworld of using AI. And I'm going to show you this tweet in particular right here. And the reason why people believe this stuff is because, well, there's a few reasons. So one, of course, was where all information starts from, Twitter. So looking at Twitter over here, you'll see this person says, don't believe the lies that Palworld is using AI-generated art. Liars are claiming that Palworld used AI art based on a post made by their CEO. The problem is he was talking about BuzzFeed using AI to create fake Mon, not Pocket Pair's staff. Now, this person, of course, didn't accuse them of using it, but they're also showing the different tweets about it. And now, looking at what he said here, because people tend to take a conversation, especially when it's out of context, and they tend to propel it forward. And when people propel just a simple conversation or simple clip out of context forward, you will realize that, oh wait, this is this is this is crazy. And now, if we look at the tweet itself here, we'll take a look. So I'll read it to you guys, and it says, whoops, gonna do a little bit of a correction here that I missed. So I know I showed off the tweets where where I read out something that he mentioned about AI, but I'm actually gonna use these ones instead, where he talks about here, like, he's the most CEO of using this, blah blah blah. It's like, here, the AI has evolved so much that I can no longer tell which one is a Pokemon. So this is him using AI and stuff. And the accusation here was actually about him trying to bypass copyright, which is kind of insane. Anyways, he's showing off the BuzzFeed engineer Mini Maxer generating AI or AI Pokemon using the rule DALI. And then here he's even showing more, which is really strange that people took this and ran with it. But yeah, this is the type of stuff people online just be tossing out with no evidence. So they don't know much about modeling in general in 3D, and I'm not a game developer either, but that alone tells me enough. Anyways, carry on. Talking about AI here. This is the founder of Palworld, as you can clearly see right here. And of course this is translated, so of course not everything is going to be in the brackets, like in the know-how. So that's the interesting part. And now, if we actually look here, pick a snippet of an article as well, you can actually take a look and see that, oh, wait. Oh, sorry, this is not loading. Jesus Christ, what's not loading? Give me two seconds. What's up with that? Okay. And now, sorry. In a recent blog post, Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobe explained how he assembled a team of enthusiasts and amateurs to make one of the most popular games to release on PC. More importantly, they seem to have come out and said that their 100 plus pals were not AI generated. The original blog post is in Japanese. You can find an English translation courtesy of Google here. In their blog post, one of the bigger claims Pocket Pair made is that their 100 plus pals were not AI generated. AI generation has been a frequent accusation made by Palworld critics due to the creators' less than outrageous response to the burgeoning technology. Many critics have chosen to take Mizobe's previous statements out of context to diminish the game. I noticed this as I started making it. It took a month to make one PAL, just the 3D model. Mizobe's journey into game development is startling to say the least, as he recounts a story of how he thought it would take 2,000 days to animate all PALs in Palworld. It turns out that at the time Mizobe didn't even know what a rig was for animation and was doing everything manually. And okay, this is like a side tangent about like AI in general, and this is what really bothers me, is the fact that people kind of treat AI like a doom and gloom. It's like y'all have watched too many like science fiction movies. It's just that AI is only as good as you make it. So if AI doesn't learn how to like make models and stuff and this and that, then AI is not really going to be the way that it is, or it's not going to really take over jobs. Of course, there's going to be some things that will get phased out because, well, people are looking for efficiency, and some jobs will be lost. But at the end of the day, AI is not a good or a bad thing. It's how it's used. It's simply a tool. So this is what I can't stand the conversation about AI. It's always so bad. Even people that like in my real life, it's like, it's taking people's jobs. It's like, yes and no. It's kind of like AI is mostly like fizzling out stuff that we don't need to do, in my opinion. It's going to fizzle out stuff. And perhaps even when it comes to schools, maybe that education is so fundamentally like archaic and flawed that perhaps AI is exposing the flaws in there. That's why so many people will use stuff like ChatGPT for an assignment. Because if you have an assignment of write so-and-so for this right here, people are going to take some liberties and be like, okay, well, I can probably speed this up. Now, of course, if you've read any AI-generated material, it's very robotic and very lacks a bit of a human touch. Especially if you have to mark it. You're going to notice. But, like I said, these tools can be very useful and help progress stuff into the future. So, anyways, that was a side tangent, but I just find it interesting how people can just like lobby stuff like this. This uses AI so casually without really backing up anything, and their source is the BuzzFeed AI, where you feed it a prompt, and it'll be like, oh, feed it into a prompt right here. So actually, you know what? Let's take a look at this prompt real quick. Now, we're going to go through this together because, well, you're going to see on screen that I have the prompt open, or the Copilot anyway. So this is the AI that's with Bing. And now, taking a brief look at it, we're going to do a random ass prompt. Like here, we're going to do, I don't know, make me an image of, what was I gonna say? Maybe Flareon. Okay, let's make an image of a fire Pokemon. Okay, we're gonna do this. Now we'll see how it does here, and it should try attempt to create it. Blah blah blah. Yeah, we know. Okay, now he's generating. But essentially, what I'm trying to tell you is that people are accusing Palworld of doing this, which is crazy to me because Palworld is simply a tool. Not tool. Wow. Palworld is simply trying to show you guys that, well, we did not do this from AI. And even here, it just gave me the most like generic Pokemon. I don't know. Let's try to do one. Maybe make me a ice Pokemon that looks like Articuno. Maybe that should help a little bit. Articuno is really cool, by the way. Here we go. This is essentially what they're made here. Give it a second again. Sorry, Articuno's awesome. But is this really made by AI? It's hard to say. But for certain, I'm not going to be lobbying, accusations against a company just out of nowhere. And the part about me that kills me is the fact that if you ever have done any form of game design, like even like a mobile game, okay? And if you ever have to use models, you have to build models from the ground up regardless. You could have assets and bought assets, but you still have to work the assets into your game. Which is crazy to me that people can just casually be saying that. Of course, the Bing Copilot didn't really give me too much. It gave me some very generic stuff, but this is the type of stuff people be saying about it. Like, oh my god, it is being copied by AI. And even though the CEO of the company has mentioned stuff like AI beforehand, does not mean people could just casually be like, oh well, this has to be AI because it looks very similar to Pokemon. Have you seen some of the monsters taken from Pokemon? Okay, I'll pull up some right now as I'm talking. Literally, people who design Pokemon go into the real world, they look at animals, and they design it based off of that. For some of them. Some of them can be completely original, but there's an inspiration for everything somewhere. Some are a bit more blatant than others, but it does not mean you guys can be, well, I mean you guys, but I'm just saying you can just go out there and be like, oh my god, there has to be AI. Oh god. And I've even seen some wild stuff saying that Palworld promotes like slavery. What? What does slavery have to do with my god. What does slavery have to do with a video game? A video game. This is the same stupid discourse about how video games used to cause violence, except this time it's about like animal abuse. If you guys are really worried about like animal abuse or like slavery in general, why don't you stop buying from Amazon? Stop paying Apple. Stop buying Nike products. That's if you really care about that, instead of like an indie developer. Oh my god. Where's the correlation with that? Oh my god. Oh my god. It's like every time a video game gets brought up, it's always the goalpost somehow shifts. And if it's using AI, then like I said, call it out accordingly if you really don't like AI. You know, AI in gaming and stuff is a bit of a different topic for another day. Alright? I'm not gonna talk about today. But oh my goodness. It's like people somehow take a video game and attach like political stuff or attach like problems that it doesn't have onto it, which is baffling to me. But oh my god, like, if you guys are really that concerned about it, then why don't you start some charities to support artists then, if you're so worried about AI? You just have anyways, wow. Whew. Yeah. But anyways, someone get PETA on the mic. Okay, PETA can help us out with that. Okay, PETA, if you're listening, go talk to the Palworld devs. Maybe you can change their minds. My God, And this discourse has me rolling my eyes every time. If you want to call it a Pokemon knockoff, I actually don't blame you because it's very 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 similar. But I'll be honest with y'all, I've been having fun on the game. It's actually a blast to play. It's very easy to just turn on and listen to while it's just, mindlessly listen to a podcast or something in the background, or you're just focusing on other stuff, or you just want to play something in the background. I said the background twice. Or you just want to just relax and have a leisure time. The game is not very hard. It's just a little time consuming, but that's about it. I have about maybe 5 hours on this game, and I just got started. People have already reached the end game. And I mean, I have, priorities, but yeah, Palworld is a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it. I have maybe I have a little bit of an addiction to it, but that's besides the point. Oh gosh. But anyways, people really need to stop taking problems that don't exist and projecting it onto something that doesn't really have it in the first place. Ugh, gosh. But anyways, that's about it for me on the discussion around Palworld. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow my socials down in the description below. With that being said, I'm going to go and play some Palworld, actually. Speak of the devil. Ciao for now.